Can I tell you something that changed the way I look at marriage? Marriage wasn't man's idea. It wasn't created by culture. It wasn't created by the government. Marriage was God's idea. Before there was ever a church, before there was ever a nation, before there was ever a government, there was a marriage. Genesis 2:24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Think about that. The very first human relationship God established wasn't between a king and his people. It wasn't between a pastor and a church. It was between a husband and a wife. Marriage was created before sin entered the world. It was part of God's perfect design. That's why the enemy hates it so much. Because marriage reflects something much bigger than just two people living together. Ephesians 5 tells us that marriage is a picture of Christ and his church. When a husband loves sacrificially, when a wife responds with respect and honor, the world catches a glimpse of the gospel. That's why protecting your marriage matters. You're not just protecting a relationship, you're protecting a covenant that points people to Jesus. Now, does that mean marriage is always easy? Absolutely not. Every marriage will have seasons of joy and seasons of hardship. But when Christ is the third strand, your marriage has a foundation that cannot be shaken. The enemy wants you to believe your marriage is just another relationship. God says it's a covenant, and covenants are worth fighting for. So this week, I want you to read Genesis chapter 2 and Ephesians chapter 5. Ask God to show you his heart for marriage, not culture's definition, not social media's definition, his. Because when we understand God's purpose for marriage, everything else begins to fall into place. Remember, your spouse is not your enemy. Satan is. Keep Christ as the third strand, and I'll see you next time.